the best thing I did, and I want you to know, was letting you in. From that moment I knew that you were all I missed. Baby, it took just one kiss. 'Cause here in your arms I can finally let go. The rest of the world is outside when you make sure I'm all you've missed. Baby, it takes just one kiss.
Hello crafty friends, it's Caroline and I'm back today with another Country Craft Creations design team project. In today's tutorial, we're going to be making valentines as well as an accompanying gift box if you would like to give them as a set. All of the products that I'm going to be using are ones that I highlighted in this video here and are available at countrycraftcreations.com. I'll have a link in the description notes below. Today's project is a variation of another video that I did last year, and that one was for 3x3 cards and accompanying gift boxes. I'll have that video linked in the description notes below as well if you would like to have them sized a little bit differently. And I will also have a full cutting guide available on my website as a free PDF download, just for your reference. Now these cards here are for 4 inches by 3 inch cards, and I chose that because of this cut apart sheet right here. I just thought these would make wonderful card fronts. Most of them, there's no need to even include a sentiment. It's going to be a really quick and effective way to make our project, and it helps the paper to do the work for us. These papers are gorgeous. We really don't have to do a lot with them. For our card bases and for our boxes, I'm going to be using this paper here. It is the Artisan cardstock in the Summer Ivory color, and I thought it looked beautiful with the collection. It's just such a beautiful, very pale yellow, and it's just such a nice fresh color. It also folds beautifully, so for our card bases it's going to make a nice crisp fold, as well as for our gift boxes. To begin, we're going to make our card bases, and we're going to make short work of that in this way. I'm going to use my scoreboard and place my 12 by 12 Artisan cardstock in the scoreboard, and we're going to score it at 3 and at 9. And then we're going to cut it in half parallel to these score marks that we just made at 6 inches. And that will give us 2 pieces that are 6 inches by 12 inches scored in half on the 6-inch side. I like doing it this way because I only had to make 2 score marks and 2 subsequent folds, because now we're going to go ahead and fold and burnish our score marks before then cutting them into our 4-inch lengths. You're simply going to place the fold edge at the top of your trimmer, bring it to the 4-inch mark, and drop your blade. And I'm going to continue on down in this way, and it's going to give me 6 card bases from one 12 by 12 sheet of cardstock. And I only had to make 2 score marks and 2 folds, and it's just a really quick way to make all of my card bases. I'm going to repeat this exact same process for 3 more sheets of paper, giving me 24 card bases that measure 3 inches by 4 inches, and they can be oriented either portrait or landscape, however you choose. I'm going to go ahead and set these aside. I want to cut some matting pieces for my card fronts, and for that I'm going to be using some of the accompanying solids that come with the collection. Now, I almost always like to pick up the package of the solids that come with the Carta Bella papers and also with the Echo Park papers, because they match perfectly. I don't have to go digging through my stash for a perfect match on the solid papers, and I just find that it's a really easy way to do that. Now, again, this is the My Valentine collection from Carta Bella. I'm not sure if I mentioned that before, but that is the collection that I'm using, and these are the solids for that. So I'm going to trim these down to 2 7/8 by 3 7/8. That's going to give me a 1/16 of an inch reveal all the way around on the front of my card base, and I'll be able to have a nice solid color backing on that. So I've cut each of my pieces at 8 inches. I'm going to save my cutoffs over here. From the 12-inch side, I'm going to go ahead and trim each of these down to 2 7/8 inch strips before then cutting them down to 3 7/8 inch lengths. I'm going to repeat with the other 2 pieces, and I'll be right back. And that gives me 24 pieces that I can use for matting. And because these are double-sided, and meaning that there's a different color on each side that also coordinate with the collection, I've easily got a really nice variety to choose from to use as a matting on my card fronts. Isn't that nice? So now let's go ahead and cut our cut-aparts, apart. Now, our cut-aparts are 3 inches by 4 inches. Our cards are 3 inches by 4 inches, and we have a matting piece that is 2 7/8 by 3 7/8. So in keeping with that same 1/16 of an inch reveal all the way around, I need to cut these pieces down so that they are 1/4 of an inch smaller than their original size. And what I mean by that is, so these cut-aparts themselves measure 4 inches by 3 inches if I were to just simply cut them apart like this, right? So what I want to do is I want to back them down, and because I want whatever the image is to be centered, I'm actually going to go around and I'm going to cut 1/8 of an inch off of each side. So I'm going to bring it down to the 3 7/8 inch mark on the 4 inch side, go make my cut, turn it. On the 3 inch side, I'm going to bring it to the 2 7/8 inch mark, cut it, turn it, and this time I can bring it to the 3 3/4. That's going to give my 1/4 of an inch smaller. And when I turn it again to the 3 inch side, or what was the 3 inch side, I'm going to bring it to the 2 3/4 inch mark and make my cut. And that way I still have my image centered on my piece of paper, but I've made it so that it's 1/4 of an inch smaller than it where it began. So if I were to place it on one of these matting pieces, I have this nice little reveal of my matting color that can then be layered on top of my card base, and it just gives me a really nice little effect there. So I'm going to go through all of my 3x4 cut aparts. I'm going to trim them down in that way, where I begin with my 3x4 sheet and I start backing it down. My first 2 cuts, I'm bringing it down 1/8 of an inch. And then my second 2 cuts, I'm finishing it off so it's 1/4 of an inch smaller than the intended size.
They were in high school when they met, and things got kinda awkward. With sparks in the air, he would stare at her in class, and she would try to act cool. But it was obvious, like, ooh, they would be together, ooh. Then one day she said, write me a love song, 'cause I know you'll make it beautiful. And maybe I'll call you my sweetheart, and promise nobody can steal me away. Then I am yours, 'cause I want you and I wanted you to know.
And once you're done, you have all of these little cutoffs here that, you might be able to use for something. I'm not going to use them. I'm going to toss them. Now, all I've got to do is assemble my cards. And this is really the fun part. This is where I'm going to sort of fan out all of the colors that I have available to use. And I'm going to find ones that I think are going to be the best accent behind the image that I have. I really like how this pink makes that pop. And then I'm going to layer it on top of my card base. And all I'm really doing at this point then is layering them up and gluing them down. And it's a really fun little, almost therapeutic process to go through.
He looked at her and then he smiled, picked up a pen and paper, and started writing. Probably something about her eyes and how they're always shining, or something cliche like, ooh. Baby, I only want you. It's true. And then he said, I wrote you a love song, and I tried to make it beautiful. It's a song about your sweet, sweetheart, and how nobody can steal me away. Yeah, I am yours, 'cause I want you and I wanted you to know. As he sang, she started to dance, grabbed his arm and took his hand. He held her close under the moonlight as they kept on dancing.
Okay, so now these are all put together, and don't they just look super cute? I love them, and it's just such an easy way to make a whole bunch of cards really fast. I think it turned out really cute. So now I'm going to move on to making our envelopes as well as our gift boxes. Let's get started on those next. According to my punch board, if I want to make envelopes for cards that are 3 inches by 4 inches, I need to begin with pieces that are 6 by 6. That makes it very simple because I have my cardstock here that is 12 by 12, and I can simply cut these into quarters and do 6 by 6 for my envelopes. But I'm going to do something a little bit differently. I'm making 24 cards, and I have 24 sheets of cardstock here in my 6 by 6 paper pad. Now, some of them are going to have some cut aparts on one side, but on the other side, they would be perfect for making our envelopes with. So I'm going to remove all of the pieces from my 24 pack of my 6 by 6 paper pad and use those for my envelopes.
And now they're singing their love song, and they sing it kind of beautiful, calling each other sweetheart. I promise nobody can get in their way or steal the show. They're in love now, and I wanted you to know.
And now that I've got all my 6 by 6 papers, I've went ahead and cut the branding strips off of them, so they're a true 6 by 6 now. It's just about following the directions on your punch board, and I like to put a piece of tape where my stop point is, just as a reference point on here. So when I look on here, and for the 3 by 4 cards, I'm beginning with a 6 by 6 piece, and my stop point is 2 5/8. So I'm going to go ahead and take my tape, and I'm going to line it up right here on my 2 5/8 inch mark, just like that. And that way I don't have to keep looking and straining to see these numbers. I know if I come up to that tape, and sometimes it'll actually butt up against it. It just makes it really easy. So once I'm at the 2 5/8 inch mark, I'm going to punch, use my scoring tool, and score along the line here, the groove that you're supposed to score on. And then I'm just going to keep turning it. The first punch is at the 2 5/8 inch mark. All of the subsequent ones, you don't line up with the 2 5/8. You line up with that score mark that you made using this little jettison piece here. You can see that. So I'm going to bring this over to where I scored, punch, score again, and just continue turning and lining that up, punching, scoring, turning, keep going until I've done this 4 times. And then I've got my piece ready to be folded. Now, you could round the corners. There is a really cool little place back here that you can slip it in and punch, and you get a nice rounded corner. I'm going to go through and score and punch all of my pieces first. And then I'm going to use my We Are Memory Keepers corner puncher so that I can line them up with the chomper and do more than one at a time. It's just going to make quick work of it for me. Once I've cut and scored all of my pieces, now I'm going to go ahead and take my corner rounder, and I'm just going to line it up on each one of these corners here and just go ahead and give it a little chomp. I just think it's a nice finish. It's not necessary, but I do think it looks nice. So once you've got all your corners rounded, you're simply going to fold and burnish all of your score marks, and then we're going to glue one side up. Now you've got these envelopes are, like 3 1/4 by 4 1/4-ish, something like that. I don't know. They're always off just by a little bit. And so now what we're going to do is we're going to open it back up, so you've got an envelope shape like this. I'm going to pull the top piece up and the bottom piece down, okay? And then I'm just going to put a little bit of glue on these 2 bottom sections of these 2 flaps here. Bring this up, give it a little burnishing. And so now I'm going to go through and fold, burnish, and glue all of them, and I'll be right back.
I did a lot of bad things, and never did I give in. Just 'cause the thought of being vulnerable made me feel less than I am. I have never felt whole till you entered my door. And from that moment I knew that a home is whatever you choose. That's the thing about you. The best thing I did, and I want you to know, was letting you in. From that moment I knew that you were all I missed. Baby, it took just one kiss. 'Cause here in your arms I can finally let go. The rest of the world is outside when you make sure I'm all you've missed. Baby, it takes just one kiss. Many years have gone by, many tears have dried out. I know that I will be with you as long as you still want me to. All the things we've been through, everything that's been you, there isn't anything else that I wish I had done to be true. Yeah, that's the thing about you. The best thing I did, and I want you to know, was letting you in. From that moment I knew that you were all I missed. Baby, it took just one kiss. 'Cause here in your arms I can finally let go. The rest of the world is outside when you make sure I'm all you've missed. Baby, it takes just one kiss.
Now we've got all of our envelopes made, and don't they look just so stinking cute? They coordinate perfectly with our cards. I love the way the insides look, even the ones, or maybe even especially the ones with the cut aparts that were on the back sides of the paper. I think they turned out great. I'm just very happy with the way these all look. I love them. I think they're really fabulous, and our cards fit wonderfully inside of there, and we just have a nice little Valentine to send now. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to make some gift boxes to put these in, so we've got a nice little presentation. Let's get started on those. So for the boxes, I'm making 4 of the boxes here. So I'm going to have 4 pieces that measure 9 1/4 by 7, and I'm going to score them on the 9 1/4 inch side. Let me grab my scoring tool here. We're going to score them at 5/8 of an inch, 1 1/4 inches, 4 3/4 of an inch, 5 3/8 of an inch, and 8 7/8 of an inch. And then you're going to turn it to the 7-inch side, and you're going to score it at 5/8 inch, 1 1/4, 5 3/4, and 6 3/8. Okay, and I'm going to do that for the other 3 in the same way.
Take
then once I've scored all 4 of my pieces like that, I'm going to fold and burnish all of my score marks. And once I've folded and burnished all the score marks, we're going to make a series of cuts. And on the accompanying cutting guide, there's going to be a diagram that shows you how to do this, but I'm going to walk you through this right now so that you can use the cutting guide as an accompaniment to the video tutorial, and the video tutorial is an accompaniment to the cutting guide. They are intended to work hand in hand, so you've got that for a reference. So I've got this position, so I've got this little 3/8 of an inch piece here. Now this is where we had the score mark at 8 7/8 on the 9 1/4 inch side, and that's this little 3/8 of an inch piece here. That's actually going to be the front flap that sort of slides in on the box. So I'm going to come from, we've got 2 folds on either side, and then we've got this, short little fold here on the front. I'm going to come at the intersection. I'm going to come 2 intersections over, and I'm going to cut both of these in at an angle like that. And then I'm going to come over here and do a much more acute angle going outward all the way over both sets of these sections here. I'm going to come to the next little section, place my finger blade in there and pull that out. And again, on the accompanying cutting guide, the words, I will have this shaded out on the portions that you're going to cut out. So you've got that as a reference as well. But I want to just show you how I actually do it as well. And then I'm going to come to the same place that I began this cut from. And I'm going to come in, not quite as an acute of an angle, to take a piece out like that. Come to the next little intersection there, pull it down, and then this one I'm going to come straight down just to the inside of that score mark, okay? I'm going to trim off this little bit here. Get that freed, okay? And then I'm also going to come over here. I'm going to come straight down from where that score mark is, just to the inside of the score mark, straight down. We're going to make some, less acute angles on either side there to make a notch, and straight down like that. So these are the pieces that I have pulled out from here, from my series of cuts, okay? And I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. It's going to be a mirror image. So let's go ahead and do these over here. I'm going to bring this one down. And I like to use a finger blade because I'm just comfortable doing it. If you're not, you can use scissors. You can use like an X-Acto knife or something. You don't have to use the finger blade. This is just this is the tool that I'm comfortable using. But, do what works for you. I always say there's no rules on the tools on some of these things. So that definitely applies here. And then this is going to be another straight cut there. Okay. I trim off these. And then I'm going to make one other trim, and that is, again, this is the front of my box here. This is the short piece. It's the front of my box. I don't need or want these sections here on either side. And in fact, I'm going to come quite a bit inside of that score mark. That wasn't very straight. Let me straighten that up, because I don't want this to catch on the bottom of my box when it goes in. This is going to slide in from the top as a closure. So I'm going to trim that off like that. And let's get this little piece trimmed off. There we go. And now I've got all of my trimming taken care of on my piece for my box, and it's going to look like this. Now I'm going to go from the inside, so all the folds are sort of facing up, right? And we're going to start gluing it together. The first thing I want to do is I want to put both of my tabs inside so that I can place some glue on them. And we're going to treat this as a way to sort of tack it down to begin with. So I'm also going to kind of fold these back because it's going to make it easier for me. There we go. So I've got a little dollop of glue on all 4 of these little tabs, and I'm just going to come around and I'm going to place my tab on the little flap next to it, or on the little section next to it on the wall of my box, and hold it for a second until it catches. I'm going to come to the next one. See, I've got my glue on there. I'm going to bring it up, and what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to make sure that my cut edge and my folded edge there are in alignment right there. So I've got a nice square corner there. Go to the next one, same thing, holding it in place. Get it where I want it to be. And just, hold it just for a second or two just so that glue can catch, okay? this isn't really what's the structural aspect of the box. It's just what's going to hold it in place long enough for us to glue the pieces down that are going to give it some structure. Okay. We've got all that in place like that. And now on these flaps, you're simply going to place some glue on the back sides of them. And we're going to fold them over into place. Use our burnishing tool or bone folder, whatever it is that you want to do, to really press those into place. I'm getting into the corners and I'm really pressing that. So I've got a doubled up area here of my paper. It's folded over and it's actually encapsulating these tabs that we just glued down. So let's do this next one. Place some glue all over this. And we're going to bend it over so it folds to the inside, going over those tabs we just tacked down. Take my bone folder or some sort of burnishing tool, go in there and really work that into the corners, really get that in place so it's really stuck down. So we now have these two sides down. And then this last one, I'm going to do the same thing. Put some glue on the back side here and fold it over and grab it just like that. I like to stand it up so I can get in there and really press that into place. Make sure I'm getting my corners all nice and tight. There we go. And now we have our box. That's it. This is going to slide in like that. And then this closes over. And so we've got a nice little box here. I like to give this little flap an extra firm crease. It sort of hyperextends that fold. And then when I'm closing up my box, this then acts as a way to sort of grab the front of it and it stays closed. Isn't that great? So now that we've got our boxes made, we can go ahead and start putting our, oh, well, actually, before I put together all the rest of my boxes, I want to do some decorating on them, and it's easier to decorate them before we fold them and put them all together, but I wanted to show you how that was constructed. Let me get some things we can put on here to decorate them. All right, I've got all my boxes made, and in order to decorate the fronts, I actually attached one of the cards to the front of each of the boxes because this is a gift box, and it gives a really nice place for you to write your sentiment, your little to, from, whatever it is you want to say to the recipient, and then inside we're going to place all of our cards and envelopes. And I did put a matting piece on here before attaching the card front, and I did that using the cutoff strips here that we had from when we cut all of our other matting pieces. And I cut them down to 4 3/8 by 3 3/8 just to give a little bit of a reveal of the box around here. And I think they turned out really cute. I'm very happy with them. Now the only thing left to do is to take some of our cards and sort of partner them up with some envelopes that, you know, look like they will go together with them, although they'll all go together because they're from the same collection. And then we're just going to place them in our little gift box. Go ahead and close it back up. Just slip those in there, and we've got our nice little gift box with our cards in here. I'm going to go ahead and package the rest of these up, and we are done. All right, y'all, that's what I've got for you guys today. I hope that you have found this helpful. Please be sure and check out all of the goodies over at countrycraftcreations.com. You will not be disappointed. I hope you all are having a wonderful day. I hope you're being kind to yourselves, and I hope you are finding some joy in your journey. Thanks so much, everyone. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.
The best thing I did, and I want you to know, was letting you in. From that moment I knew that you were all I missed. Baby, it took